Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, the first incident that led me to seek out JNMIL. I'm in for a bad weekend. Rose Tinted is demanding fortnightly video calls, help. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. The first incident that led me to seek out JNMIL. Hi all. Thank you in advance for reading. I apologize in advance if this is scattered. I just need a place to kind of get it all out and I guess get some commiseration. I initially was going to post this as a summary of my overall situation, but I typed out the beginning and realized it's a post in itself. I don't super have a sense of humor about it, yet, so it's not very funny, but I needed to share anyway. So I've been married to my husband for almost 5 years. We have a 4-year-old daughter and 2 boys from my first marriage who live primarily with us. We have a great marriage and I love him so much. He's a great partner and a good dad to all the kids. We just have one huge problem. So MIL. When I first met my husband, just over 5 years ago, she was pretty good. In retrospect, there were some red flags, asking about her future grandchildren the first time I met her and talking about how much she loves her son every time he's not in the room, but naive little me didn't think anything of them. I really liked her and I felt lucky to be getting a MIL that wanted to be around the kids and was supportive of us. Then I got pregnant. We'd been together 5-ish months and we were engaged, and I got pregnant on purpose, not that it matters, and we're old and I already have 2 kids, so I knew she'd be excited of course, but it was like I got pregnant and ceased to exist as a person and was only an incubator for her grandchild. During this pregnancy she went to my husband and told him I was being unwelcoming and she felt like I didn't like her. And I swear, until that moment, I was fine with her. Like yes, she was annoying sometimes, but I had no true issues with her. But once you go to him to complain about me, in my eyes in an effort to get between us, all bets are off. My husband is generally so good at protecting us and our partnership, etc., but when it comes to her he gets defensive. So I lost my mind at this, he got defensive about it, and we didn't solve anything. At this point we have literally been together less than a year, there are kids involved, etc. We were perhaps making bad choices surrounding communication, I don't know, so anyway, I have the baby. Everyone is overjoyed. DH set some boundaries around his mother coming up after the birth and that goes fine. About a week later, MIL is over visiting. DH leaves the room. MIL says to me, paraphrased, "It's so strange how the baby looks nothing like my son, I hope that doesn't mean someone else is the dad." Y'all, I was so shocked, and so hormonal and so just overwhelmed that in the moment I didn't say anything, just some mumbled like, "Oh ha, he's definitely the dad." I don't think I need to say this, but I will, he's definitely the dad. After she left I told my husband and he doesn't think she'd really say that, asks me to address it with her. Now listen, I'm not one to back down from a confrontation, and even though in retrospect I realize this is the dumbest idea, I called her on speaker, with him there. I ask about it. She claims she didn't say that, and I must have misunderstood. I get confused and overwhelmed. The conversation turns into how I've been treating her horribly and she's so sad. I apologize. I know, things are fine again. Later, I hate myself for this phone call and how I handled the whole situation. We have just started therapy specifically to deal with the issues with MIL, yay DH I know, but he's really so deep in the fog that I honestly don't know what's going to happen. My homework this week was to come up with the initial incident that made me start with the feelings I have towards MIL. So, mission accomplished. It's just been so much on my mind that I had to put it here. Thanks in advance for listening. I know my husband has stuff to work on, and he knows too. I'm sure I do too, and I will work on my part, whatever that may be. That's what therapy is for. I would put my phone's recorder on every time you're alone with her. Then ask her about it again. She played you. And knew the speaker phone was for your SO's benefit. He's defensive because she's probably been a manipulator for most of his life and he can't see the game in play to damage your relationship with him. Time to stop playing the game. Record all meeting and calls. Try not to be left alone with her. This manipulation tactic, person A says something to person B about / to get a specific reaction from person C, is called triangulation and it's awful. My MIL is a pro at it. Our marriage therapist told us the key to managing triangulation is to cut the manipulator out of all communication triangles. MIL says something awful while DH is out of earshot. Immediately go find him and say, "Hey honey, your mom doesn't think Junior looks like you at all, so I must have cheated. What do you think?" Then the two of you address the statement together, LOL, well clearly she's never been to your family reunion, love, or she'd know exactly where that baby came from. Or, wow, has she even seen my ears? Somebody stole them right off my head and stuck them on Potato Head Junior's. Then change the subject because her opinion means fuck all to Team OP/DH. MIL invites you to Uncle Terry's party and asks you to bring ice. You're happy to check with DH, always involve DH somehow, and if your family schedule is clear y'all will confirm the details with Uncle Terry and see her there. Subject change. She's not your social secretary, and she doesn't need to accept your RSVP immediately on Uncle Terry's behalf. MIL tells you DH's ex has been spilling the tea about their current torrid love affair. That sounds like something y'all can handle as a couple without involving anyone's parents, and take it with a giant grain of salt until you get verification from your partner, because triangulators are frequently liars/truth twisters who sow chaos and drama everywhere they go. We still use the tools we got in therapy 15 plus years ago. Hang in there. You're off to a great start. You order cameras for your house yet? If not, do it. You can record anything you want in your own home. Even her being a lying witch. Practice recording and let her come over when pissable. Bring up that you have never felt comfortable since she told you that DS doesn't look like DH and asked if anything else happened. Ask her if she remembers saying that you and ask if she now thinks that DS looks like DH at all. Hopefully she'll admit to saying that, and say something else incriminating. Ask her plenty of questions, make a list beforehand, record everything, then let DH see it. Great time to request that you and DS go NC regardless of his relationship with her. My thoughts as well, but don't MKE it too. Obvious. What a evil piece of work. Now that you've had time to breath, think and get some strength back, and know that she is 100% snake, you can get back at her. Along the lines of, I thought we had a healthy relationship until you went to DH behind my back. You and I know what you said about my baby. Now, every time you try and lie again to DH, I will put it on your age and potential early dementia and convince DH that you need help and are not welcome in my and our baby's life. You are strong, do not let her ruin your relationship or disrespect you any longer. I have been in the same exact incident, except different allegation. These women are SHT. I am so sorry. Don't be alone with this woman. Tell your husband that. Leave the room whether she likes it or not. Or have hubby remove her. That's what I did. I try not to be alone with this woman. Also just say it to her. You are gaslighting me. So that when she starts her propaganda telling everybody you are treating her like shit. And then you leave the room. That will enforce the image. But what you can do by telling her that she's gaslighting you, she might repeat that in front of people. And people will think twice. I'm in for a bad weekend. Misogyny runs deep and victim blaming is a very real problem. Forbid if I had been someone in a physically abusive situation and listened to some of you. Some helpful facts: it takes up to 7 attempts to leave. Counseling is not recommended as a couple if a partner is abusive. The victim does not want to be abused, nor does she allow it. Thankfully I am aware of how this works, but another woman reading this may not be. My mill has always hated me, but the last 10 or so years she has mostly left me alone, thankfully. I worked very hard to get as far away as possible emotionally without offending her, but mostly I think she just lost interest in tormenting me. She has done a lot of damage to my husband growing up and a lot of damage to me, but no, she isn't entirely to blame for his behavior. So my Phil has Alzheimer's, unfortunately. And she is making a huge deal out of it for attention and all the things JustNoMils do. I'm in no way saying this isn't a sad and horrible thing for her and our family, etc. But the truth is she is dumping way too much on my husband emotionally, and he is taking it out on me. He cannot handle what is happening to his dad. She blows it all out of proportion for the stage he's in. He has mostly normal days, but she won't stop fake crying and hand-wringing. She and my Phil still go out to eat, shopping, anywhere and everywhere they want. There are many ways he and I can help and support her without her overburdening him to the point he can't take anymore. They didn't have the best relationship growing up and he feels obligated because he loves his dad, and so do I. My husband is responsible for his own behavior towards me, but it still upsets me that she is doing this. It doesn't have to be this way for us to help her. But recently she had his license revoked. This surprised many of us, but she is the one living with him and should know best, and suddenly she is unable to take him to DMV to get an ID. So she has asked my husband to take him, and I am in for a very bad weekend because he will treat me terrible after doing this. She upsets him so much with her antics, but there's no excuse to cuss at me or stonewall me when she does. I mentioned she can totally take him herself and he got mad, said Phil had called her a name and he had to help. LOL, I said you call me names all the time and no one is having to take on my responsibilities. My husband is a very hard person. It's been a long marriage. Right now, that woman is much more able-bodied than I am. I am pregnant with twins, due soon, and I don't ask my husband for any help taking the trash off / driving to out-of-town apps / etc. etc. Also, if we have an argument now, he tells her so. OMG, it's like I'm 18 again and it's starting over with her and him. ETA, I have plans for this marriage ending, a counselor that I've worked with a while now, a mother and sister who are aware and supportive, FFS, I even have a lawyer because that's how sh*t works in real life. I don't owe an explanation for my relationship in a post about my mill. No wonder women who might be in a dangerous situation wouldn't say anything, and I hope they don't come across some of you if they ever do. This is a JNSO problem. Yes, your MIL sounds horrible, but your husband is abusing you. No shit. But she's also a huge just know who is at this very moment giving my whole family hell. Your husband sounds toxic and abusive. This is going to keep getting worse as his father's disease progresses. Do you want your children growing up in this environment? I was going to say this. The husband sounds like he could escalate really easily. Pregnant and postpartum people are very, very vulnerable to domestic abuse and assault. OP, please be very careful and keep safe. To be honest, unless he can have a real, calm heart-to-heart, I probably wouldn't stay in a marriage like this. Literally better off without him. I am in for a very bad weekend because he will treat me terrible after doing this. Girl. WTH. This is not acceptable. This is a just no so. You need help getting out, do you have any? Yes, I am working on it. One step at a time. Just ranting about a weekend that I likely have to face. I hope you're able to escape such a toxic and abusive so in the near future. Yeah. Calling names is infantile. It is a standard rule in healthy relationships to not call names. He sounds really awful and OP sounds miserable. I suggest she'd be happier without him. Your MIL issue pales in comparison to your issues with your DH. He sounds like a terrible partner. Yes, he could do a lot better. She does pale in comparison, but she is my current problem for being hysterical and dumping, so I'm just venting about her. You don't need to put up with your husband. Leave. Your words are heartbreaking. It's been a long marriage, this is your life. You get this one and nothing is guaranteed. You are mentally okay with being unhappy. Sis, I was there. I was in your shoes. I was ready to be okay with hating my life until one day I decided I wasn't. Make that day today for you. Be done. Life is better single than it is with a man like that. Your problem isn't your MIL, it's your awful trash husband. Thank you, and I'm sorry you've been in my shoes. I have plans to leave, but just venting about a weekend I still have to go through. Definitely it's not worth it, and being single is absolutely okay. You have a just no so who is taking out his frustrations and anger with his mom on you. That is totally unfair, especially as you are pregnant with twins. You aren't being the problem, that he is being abusive. He needs help, such as therapy, to learn to vent his frustration in healthier ways. Go stay with your mother at least until the babies come. Neither you nor the kids need this kind of stress. Rose Tinted is demanding fortnightly video calls, help. My mum Rose Tinted is acting pretty maddeningly right now. I've had a few weeks of bliss where I've been able to focus on my relationship with my fiancé, and we are really happy together right now, which is great. It's like RT somehow feels the happiness on the wind and decides to descend. Firstly, I got COVID and she just ignored me and my messages letting the family know, only messaging me once to mention her dog's adoption birthday. Oh no, I tell a lie, she did try to ring me when she was driving twice, getting annoyed when I said I couldn't speak because I have COVID and it hurts to talk on the phone. She never texted me instead or anything. I said to my therapist it's like she only wants me to exist when it's convenient for her. I.e. in the car with nothing else to do. Anyway, the thing I'm posting about asking for advice is there was a text sent to us all from our bank which my sister messaged a group chat about. Basically the branch we got our current accounts registered at is closing. I let them know I was looking into it because I'd rather have a bank close to me as my branch. I live over 4 hours away now, but RT said she would go to the bank in person and she can change our accounts to another local branch. I think she can't do this. This is my current account and she doesn't have any claim over it, but anyway, that's annoying. Then, she said that she's just glad to be talking to her babies, which annoyed me because I actually tried to initiate a friendly conversation via group message while I was sick. She just wants it on her terms. This isn't a fun conversation either. And then she asked if we could reinstate regular video calls every fortnight, which is the thing I need help with. When COVID lockdowns began, the extended family did weekly video calls. I hated these. They were a rose-tinted cabaret hour where she was in her element, controlling everyone, making us feel bad for being late or absent and forcing conversations people didn't want to have. One time she had an actual tantrum on call because my brother put his name as Batman and she rejected his entry because she thought it was a scam, but she was mad at all of us. I hated the pressure to always be available for these. One time I let everyone know in advance I couldn't make it because I had a video call with some friends I hadn't spoken to in ages, and my mum wouldn't stop ringing and even got my sister to message me saying how selfish I was being and how much this means to my mum. Just really horrible stuff, and I cannot do that again. How do I say I can't do a fortnightly video call? She won't like it, so I'm not deluding myself that there's a way of saying that with no repercussions, but I want to do it right for myself without escalating if possible. She gets to demand absolutely nothing. No, thank you. I don't feel the need for fortnightly calls. Don't offer an explanation. She isn't owed one. If they contact you to complain, either hang up the call, or not answer at all. Also, please don't give her access or anything remotely close to that, of your bank account. Heck, I'd even call the bank to confirm with them that only you can change what needs to be changed. Her offer smells like a trick to exert control. I saw another comment say that people have got access to accounts this way, so I am definitely changing banks ASAP. I'm more than satisfied with our current level of communication. The video calls didn't really work well for me regularly anyway. This is it. So professional, I like it. My now 91 years old aunt has a great way to decline invitations and requests. She says, "I don't think I would enjoy that," and then she changes the subject. If you bring up the request again, she changes the subject very pointedly. Bring it up one more time. One of you is leaving. She is unfailingly polite about it, but if you are at her house, you are leaving. If she is out somewhere, she is leaving. As long as you only use this when you will follow through, it works amazingly well. Your aunt sounds amazing and so self-actualized. What an aspiration. Thanks for letting me know about the bank. I'll handle it. I'll let you know if a video call will work occasionally. Committing to weekly calls does not work for us. Keep repeating, "I'll handle it," and "that does not work for us." As you say, she won't like it. And it is possible she will escalate with FM, as your sister has done before, or guilt trips, that you will have to ignore, or even spam calling you. You can put her on silent when the time is near so you don't have to see it. Best you can do is prepare for it. Mantras for your FMs: "I told Mom it doesn't work for us. I don't know why you got dragged into this. I know all her reasons for wanting to and I know why I made my decision. My answer is not going to change. I don't need you to validate it, or even agree. All I need from you is that you respect my decision. Thanks." Putting RT and SIL on silent so you don't get bothered with guilt trips and nagging, and going on repetition. Repetition works. That doesn't work for us. Rinse. Repeat. I keep repeating, repetition works, to remind myself. That won't work for our schedules right now. If you want to schedule a call, let us know. We will check our schedule and let you know our availability. Thank you for understanding. This works great, but IMO drop the thanks for understanding. There's no thanks, there's no understanding. You're not negotiating with her, you were telling her what you were willing to do. I love how polite this is. Bank. Go open an account at your local branch. Then contact your current bank and ask someone how to set up a transfer of your money to the new bank. Your new bank may even be able to transfer the funds. The main thing is to follow up with current bank after the transfer and get something in writing that the balance is zero, and the account is closed. You don't want to leave the account open with no funds and then get charged fees for low balance. You don't need your mom or anyone to do this, it's quite simple and very common to do this. It's just nerve-wracking the first time you do it. Thank you, I'll look into this ASAP. You have some great comments here about how to say no. I think the key thing is to remember this. I hated these, they were a rose-tinted cabaret hour where she was in her element controlling everyone, making us feel bad for being late or absent and forcing conversations people didn't want to have. One time she had an actual tantrum on call. She will be unpleasant if you say no, but she will also be unpleasant if you say yes. Saying no up front is the least time-consuming path. It was not pleasant, so I'm doing that again. I cannot fault that logic. Thank you. That's not going to work for me. I'll let you know when I'm available for calls. That's it. If she protests, you're suddenly busy and need to go. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.